All right, I just had a story that I thought I would share with you guys. If somebody were to ask me what is the craziest thing that I've ever witnessed, this would be the story that I would tell them. I went to college at the University of North Texas. That's in Denton, Texas, if you're not familiar with Denton. It's not a very big town. I want to say maybe there's 200,000 people there, 300,000 maybe. Maybe not even that much. It might be closer to 100,000. But anyway, it was a big leap for me coming from a very small town, like of 2,000 people, to go to a town that actually had malls and McDonald's and stuff like that. Anyway, college town. And I was living with a couple of guys in an apartment that was on the street called Sam Bass. And our apartment was right next to the street. I think it was 2 lanes, so about a 4-lane road. A decent sized street is what I'm saying. I was up super late, like I used to do, like I still tend to do. It was probably close to 3 in the morning. I was probably writing on a screenplay or doing some homework or something like that. But I was up super late, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hear a dog that sounded like it was right outside our door, our little sliding glass door, yelping and screaming in what sounded like complete agony. So I was like, what the hell? So I get out of my seat, and I go outside, and I'm like kind of weirded out, like what am I about to walk into? And I look through the fence and I see that some dog had just gotten hit, and it's on the side of the road. Horrible sight. There wasn't like a lot of blood anywhere or anything, but clearly its back legs were just shattered. I mean, it couldn't hold itself up. It was like pulling itself onto the curb with its paws. Right there, just horrifying. I go out the front door to go check on this dog. Well, by the time I get out there, I see a car has pulled up, and a couple, probably in their late 30s, early 40s, something like that, were like looking after this dog, and one of them was on their phone calling animal control, trying to do something about it. And this poor thing was in bad shape. It was panting a lot, but they were being really careful because, dogs, when they're stressed, they can, lash out at you because they don't really know what's going on. And so they're like trying to be really careful with it. They're getting it off the road and their hazard lights are on. And I'm out there just like, oh my God, like I'm contributing nothing to this whole thing because I'm just like, what, And so while we're standing there, a police car pulls up. As the policeman came over and he's calling animal control, and we're all trying to just kind of get the situation under control, this dude comes walking from across the street, African-American dude. And he walks up and he was like, yeah, these two cars were racing. That's what happened. I saw these two cars racing each other down the street and they hit that dog. A little bit of time passes, not very long, and a car comes driving past us. And that dude that had just walked up was like, that's them. That's the guy that hit the car, or that's the guy that hit the dog. And we're all watching it. So this car drives down the street, does a U-turn, and drives back up to us. And this gets everybody's attention. It's like, what's happening? Because the police car is there with its lights on. So this car pulls up, it drives past us, and it goes into the parking lot of my apartment complex. A guy gets out of the front of the car. He comes running out of the car, and he's just like, and he's speaking in Spanish really fast, really panicked, and we can't understand what he's saying. And he comes running over to the cop, and of course we're all like, what's going on? And then another guy in the car gets out and opens the back door, and a dude literally falls out with blood spraying out of his head. He's been shot in the head. And at this point, everybody's like, what the F, right? We're all freaking out. What is going on? And the cop's like, we need some backup over here, And I mean, immediately there's fire trucks, there's ambulances, there's 2 or 3 other police cars. Eventually, animal control shows up for the dog and whisks it away. And I'm just standing there like, what have I stepped into here? And what it turns out was that these 2 cars weren't racing each other. They were shooting at each other. There was like a gang thing or something. And that's how this guy got shot. In the middle of all this craziness, the dude that had walked over and said that the 2 cars were racing each other leans over to me. He's like, hey, can you do me a favor? I'm like, what's up? And he's like, and he hands me his wallet. He's like, can you hold this for me? There's a warrant out for my arrest. I'm like, fine, yeah, here, so I'm like holding this guy's wallet, and I go over to the cop and I ask the dumbest question I've probably asked anybody ever in my life. I'm like, is that guy gonna be okay? That was just the dumbest question, because the cop kind of turns to me and he's like, no. I eventually was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get back inside. I mean, it was like 4 or 4:30 in the morning at this point. And I give the guy his wallet back. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, I got to go back in. He's like, all right, and he kind of makes his own way. The cops never came around and took our stories or anything, which is actually kind of crazy now that I think about it. But that's the wildest thing that I've ever personally witnessed. And of all places that this would happen, Denton, Texas. And I did not tell my parents because I don't think I would be allowed to stay there too much longer if I did. Literally, 1 minute I'm sitting on my computer working on something, and 10 minutes later I'm looking at a dead guy flopping out of a car. It was an interesting night. So that's why I would call that the craziest thing that I've ever personally witnessed. So that's just a story I thought I would share. If you enjoyed it, if not, I would love to hear what the craziest thing has ever happened to you. I hope that it's not. I hope that whatever your craziest story would be is in the same vein as mine. It's something you witnessed and didn't, actually it happened to. But life is crazy and you never know. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. It's been too much information. Take care.